Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Carla Dorado.
And I'm James Milan. Thanks for joining us. In this edition of APN, an Arlington police lieutenant is on paid leave after some controversial comments he made in print. We have an exclusive interview with Arlington's police chief and his reaction to this breaking story.
A brand new green infrastructure project is now complete. It's designed to clean up the alewife brook. We talked to an environmental expert to see how this new design works.
And isn't it just perfect that the Red Sox staged their victory parade on Halloween? APN's Brenda Mahoney found out just how scary and wicked good the Sox and Halloween go together. That and more up next. Stay with us.
This week, a prominent police lieutenant on Arlington's police force was suspended with pay following comments he wrote for the Massachusetts Police Association's newsletter, The Sentinel.
Lieutenant Rick Pedrini, who is also set to become the executive director of the MPA, recently penned 3 columns which were highly critical of social concerns ranging from how to view migrants seeking asylum to progressive policing practices. In one piece, Pedrini wrote, "I am sick and tired of social justice warriors telling us how to do our jobs. It's time we forget about restraint, measured responses, procedural justice, de-escalation, stigma reduction, and other feel-good BS that is getting our officers killed. Let's stop the lip-syncing, please. Let's meet violence with violence and get the job done." Just hours after being suspended from the force, Pedrini was also relieved of his duties with the MPA, where he had served on the executive board. The association initially said the comments were done in a tongue-in-cheek satirical fashion. I spoke to Arlington Police Chief Fred Ryan just this past week as part of our ongoing public affairs series on criminal justice reform, and he told me that he didn't take it that way. And he wanted to stress that these comments were made in Pedrini's capacity with the MPA and not as an Arlington police officer.
You know, this really came out of left field, and we're very concerned about it. You know, there's no question that these are concerning opinions, and people have a right to hold their police department accountable, and you have a right to hold us accountable. You know, I always say, you know, people throw this notion of transparency around, and you know, transparency is important because it breeds self-correcting behavior. I think we've had this conversation before. And so we'll be transparent about this. It happened, we recognize it happened. And we'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll dispose of the matter responsibly and begin to earn that trust back of members of the community who may have lost trust in their police department. Because we're only as good as the trust that the community places in us, and we'll roll up our sleeves and we'll do what we have to do to regain that trust.
Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine also weighed in on Pedrini's comments, saying that they are not in line with what Arlington or its police force stand for, and that the town leaders are taking this matter very seriously.
Later in this newscast, we go to Arlington Police Headquarters to see what Chief Ryan's talking about when it comes to gaining community trust. Jeff Barn discovered a unique and creative way police are reaching out to people they are paid to protect, and they're doing it by reaching deep into a very rich, proud, and storied past. That's coming up in just a few moments.
They're known as Mothers Out Front, a grassroots movement of mothers, grandmothers, and caretakers dedicated to giving future generations a livable future in the age of climate change. Group members were handing out flyers in several Arlington neighborhoods like these folks we tagged along with previously. They're urging residents to put pressure on National Grid to fix the more than 200 gas leaks throughout the town. This after the gas company locked out more than 1,000 union workers when contract talks fell through earlier this year. In July, Arlington town officials imposed a moratorium on National Grid for all non-emergency work on gas pipelines. That moratorium was later amended to allow non-emergency work on a case-by-case basis. And that concerns Mothers Out Front members who are calling on residents to contact National Grid to fix the gas leaks. They tell APN capping the gas leaks and renewing the infrastructure is the only way to maintain the safety of all Arlingtonians.
A project to reduce pollution is now complete at Edgerton and Herbert Roads. You're looking at a pair of bioretention basins at this intersection. These basins help filter stormwater runoff, which would otherwise wind up untreated in the Alewife Brook. Drains collect the natural trash and other pollutants, and the contours of this construction actually slow the water down, allowing the basins to act as a natural filter, especially in flash floods. The town of Arlington and the Mystic River Watershed Association teamed up to build these basins, which officials say act much like a rain garden.
The intention is to take the storm water that comes off of the pavement and get it into the ground as opposed to directly to the river. So these devices have plants in them that help suck up some of those nutrients but also stabilize the soil. And after a certain amount of water gets into the bioretention basin and it fills up, then it can overflow into the river.
Stormwater is considered to be Arlington's #1 polluter. The project design cost roughly $20,000, mostly from federal and state money, with matching funds coming from Arlington.
This year, voters across the state once again have the opportunity to cast their ballots before Election Day on November 6th, and Arlington's no different. Since October 22nd, there has been a steady stream of voters from several area precincts coming to Arlington Town Hall to exercise that privilege. One leader from the League of Women Voters tells APN there is absolutely no excuse to stay home, whether it's a general or a midterm election day.
Think of something that you feel passionate about. Find out if there's an organization that's doing anything related to that issue, and get involved. Because you don't have to. Your vote is not your only voice. You also have a voice in how what kind of legislation is passed, and what the future of the Commonwealth is going to look like.
The last day for early voting is November 2nd, so that election officials can set up for Election Day on November 6th.
It's time to dim the lights, sit back, and enjoy a cinematic treasure right here in the heart of Arlington. The International Film Festival kicks off this week. Our arts and entertainment reporter Jamie Joseph will give us a preview.
As part of the Bus Rapid Transit System celebration, Arlington Public Art goes one step further and revamps what used to be a brick wall. A new creative entree is now on Zop Restaurant's bill of fare, and we'll tell you all about it.
And the stars are aligned to join Halloween and the victorious Sox. They tricked the LA Dodgers 4-1 and treated themselves to another World Series trophy. How the sweet taste of that victory goes well with M&Ms, Snickers, and dare we say Baby Ruth? Oh. Next.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
You could say that combination was so good, it's scary. This year's Halloween fell during the Red Sox World Series Championships parade.
So APN's Brenda Mahoney went out to find people celebrating both.
Justin Lucente started preparing early Halloween morning, getting his Overlook Road home in Arlington ready for the big day.
Started off as a friendly competition, and then I think a lot of people have now realized that it's more work than not.
Meanwhile, thousands in Boston working on celebrating the Red Sox 4th World Series championship of the century.
We may not be going so much for a world championship, but we want to be in the running.
Win or not, Lucente's motive is to bring people together to share in the spirit of spooky fun.
The reaction is usually pretty incredible. I mean, we got a lot of people that come from all areas of the town.
Halloween night is a hoot. We have hundreds of kids who come out, and everybody stops and they push the buttons, and everybody just loves the spookiness of it.
The Red Sox celebration falling on the same day as Halloween. Not too many people here for watching the parade during the lunchtime crowd at Common Ground on Mass Ave in Arlington, but they are expected later and perhaps even in costume. The connection, you could say, may even be incredible.
We give out candy like from 4 to 8, so 4 to 9 I think it is. So yeah, we should get a bit of a rush maybe later on fans-wise.
We just win and we win and we win, and we're going to keep winning. And it's a beautiful thing. I love to be from Boston. I was born and raised here.
It kind of speaks for itself in terms of like what integrity and hard work can actually achieve.
As day turned into night, Lucenti's efforts paying off.
It's just absolutely frightening. This is the best house.
This is awesome! This is incredible. This is Halloween. Halloween in Arlington. There you go.
Brenda Mahoney, Arlington Public News.
You may have already seen certain Arlington bus shelters transformed into works of art, courtesy of Arlington Public Art and Boston's Barr Foundation.
The shelters stretch from Lockland Avenue to Thorndike Street and celebrate the new bus rapid transit pilot program. To heighten the celebration, look what's happening at Za Restaurant on Mass Ave. A stunning transformation on the brick wall of the restaurant. This massive mural was painted by artist James Weinberg, who, by the way, also worked on the bus shelter at Thorndike. James told APN his intention was to place nature squarely in the foreground, while the more urban communities took a back seat. Mass transit leads to fewer cars on the road, which means cleaner air, and James wanted to pay tribute to the going green with magenta, yellow, orange, and blue.
The themes behind it is sort of paying tribute to the natural space that surrounds Arlington. And I spent a lot of time biking around and going through to the Minuteman Trail, and so it's more the vantage point from the natural space, and you can kind of see Arlington kind of off in the distance there. So that was the concept behind the mural.
The folks at Za Restaurant said the mural has already started conversations about the possibility of more works of art like this adorning other Arlington businesses.
You know, we looked at it, we loved the design. It's a great space for that, and it adds, you know, you come around the corner, you're not expecting to see it, and suddenly this thing pops up and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool.
This is one of 2 murals celebrating the BRT, and Za expects to have this mural up for at least 2 more years.
Get your popcorn and your milk duds ready. The Arlington International Film Festival kicks off this week, bringing intriguing, marvelous, and thought-provoking films from the world over to the silver screen in Arlington's Capitol Theater from November 1st through the 4th. Arts and entertainment reporter Jamie Joseph has a sneak preview of the festival's coming attractions.
Jamie here with Arlington Public News, bringing you the arts and entertainment of Arlington. I'm here with Mark Gerton, founder and owner of 13 Forest Gallery. Today we're going to be talking about the Arlington International Film Festival and 13 Forest Gallery's involvement in the film festival. So Mark, tell us how you became involved with AIFF, better known as the Arlington International Film Festival.
Well, Jamie, thanks for asking. Alberto came strolling in the gallery maybe 8 or 9 years ago, whenever the festival started, and was explaining to me his idea for the festival. Mm-hmm. And at first, I was involved in the poster judging contest, which we have a contest every year for students. And first it was in the Arlington students, and now it's been expanded to be college students, art students in the area. And it's a very generous award, and it's a great step up for these artists to be recognized as students. And then the festival, as you know, has been in different parts of town. So first it was at the Regal, then it was at the Kendall, and we're very happy to have it back here in Capitol Square. So it's at the Capitol Theater, and which will be starting this Thursday, November 1st.
Yeah. Well, what events are going to be held here at 13 Forest?
Well, when the festival was moved to the square, I went to April and Alberto and I said, we have to do some kind of event. And, on Saturday of the festival, let's come up with something that we can do, a talk or a reception or something like that. So this will be the 3rd year that we've done it. And so every year, April and Alberto have found one film that is related to the arts, and then we've found a speaker to come speak at the gallery.
Well, thanks so much, Mark, for talking with me and chatting with me in your lovely gallery. And if you haven't been to 13th Forest Gallery, please come here. They're along Mass Ave. In closing, my name's Jamie with Arlington Public News, bringing you the arts and entertainment of Arlington.
As we bid adieu to Halloween 2018, we have tips on how to properly deep six the jack-o'-lantern and let nature do the rest.
And we'll have the latest on how the Spy Ponders football team are getting ready for their traditional Thanksgiving Day matchup.
And Arlington police are doing everything in their power to gain community trust, one era at a time. We'll explain when we come back.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
she doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
The Spy Ponder girls and boys soccer teams have finished their regular season.
So why haven't they hung up the cleats for the season? Carlos Abreu has the answer with tonight's sports update from Studio B.
Hello Arlington sports lovers, and welcome to another edition of the ACMi Sports Update. Boys and girls soccer have finished up the regular season on the pitch, and great news, both teams will be competing in the playoffs this season. The girls team clinched their position in the tournament after a 1-0 win against Belmont.
They've got to find a way through this defense that's not going to be the balls up and over.
Reyna is going to head this in. Reyna has a chance.
Oh, it's hanging out there.
The girls will be playing their first playoff game away against Beverly on Friday, November 2nd at 3 p.m. While the boys team had already secured a position in the playoffs, they improved their season record with a win against Belmont.
They're more fashion style. Oh, there's a nice play by Connolly as he goes for the sombrero, but it's covered nicely by the Belmont defender. And so Arlington's starting to pick it up a little bit. As they do, the ball goes across, and there it is to block it, and he shot. Oh, Lucas blocked it, and the ball came across. Was that Francesco? Who sent it across?
I think it was Francesco.
Speaking of Belmont, the boys will be playing their first playoff match against the Red Raiders this Saturday, November 3rd at 3 p.m. Come on down to the Pierce Field in Arlington to support your Spy Ponders as they begin the tournament. Also playing in the tournament bracket this season is the girls volleyball team. They'll play their first playoff game in Revere on Thursday, November 1st at 5:30 p.m. Spy Ponders football took another win on the road on Friday against Malden Catholic. They beat the Lancers 40-21. They'll be playing away in Medford on Friday, November 2nd. That's all we have for sports this week, but be sure to keep tuning into ACMi for more coverage of your Arlington Spy Ponders.
When the community safety building accommodating Arlington's police force underwent that multi-million-dollar renovation project recently, many factors were taken into consideration.
The new layout was designed to provide enhanced safety and efficiency for officers, staff, and detainees. And particular attention was also given to visitors. Its sole purpose was to educate. And as Jeff Barn reports, police are hoping this unique and enticing idea pays big dividends when it comes to public trust.
Arlington's police headquarters on Mystic Street is currently a second home to the 74 police officers sworn to protect the community. When this near half-century-old building was upgraded 2 years ago, police were determined to maintain the trust of Arlington residents. That ambition made its way into this building's current design.
What we realized was, we had built our old police station with civil defense dollars. It was designed in the 70s, and it was really built like a fort. And it sent the message that, we were somehow at war with our community, and that really irritated many of us in the police department.
Chief Ryan says a public safety facility like this should be built to reflect the policing philosophy of welcoming the residents police are being paid to protect. He says a lot of time, energy, and definitely a lot of creativity went into the redeveloping of this building on the outside and most definitely on the inside. When the midsection of this structure was redesigned on the upper floor, several police officers themselves worked with the architects to tell their 165-year-old story.
One of the ideas that came up is this little historical area that we have and the displays that we have, and it's resulted in a lot of neat conversations among residents and police officers and staff.
You'll see sepia-tone photographs showing the resolute faces of those who passed here long before and the instruments they used to ply their trade. A Graflex booking camera that took thousands of photographs from the 1950s through the 70s. A now antiquated 1960s Smith & Wesson breathalyzer kit, long since replaced by a more modern design. Call boxes and two-way radios used in the latter half of the 20th century, now rendered obsolete by ever-present mobile devices. Archaic gadgetry of a bygone era, triggering a very necessary 21st century dialogue between Arlington police and the community.
We begin to build trusting relationships, and with those trusting relationships we can get feedback, both positive and negative, that helps us mature as a law enforcement agency. So this was energy and resources well spent because it results in trusting relationships.
In years past, these relics clearly served their purpose in the daily rigors of law enforcement. But Chief Ryan says nothing can surpass community trust, a principle that is highly valued in today's police force, as it was to those who came generations before. I'm Jeff Barnes, Arlington Public News.
Chief Ryan says everyone is welcomed to visit their headquarters, and it's a marvelous destination for school field trips. The best news? It doesn't cost a dime.
Your pumpkin pulled it off again. It served as a fine front porch beacon for all the trick-or-treaters scrounging for candy. Now, it's time to bid your gourd a fond farewell to that great pumpkin patch in the sky. On Friday, November 2nd, Halloween revelers were set to take their spent jack-o'-lanterns to the Dallin, Brackett, or Stratton elementary schools. Black Earth Compost, which collects the lunchroom food waste and compostable trays from all of Arlington schools, collects the discarded pumpkins and processes them for composting to enrich area gardens and orchards. Last year, more than 1.5 tons of pumpkins were collected. Just a friendly reminder, you cannot throw pumpkins in the trash or in your weekly yard waste. Or there's the outside possibility that Freddy Krueger, Mike Myers, or even Jason may show up at your house to set you straight. Tough crowd.
And you can check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Arlington Public.
If you have any news tips for us here at Arlington Public News, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by the studio at 85 Park Ave. I'm Carla Dorado.
And I'm James Milan. Thanks for joining us. We leave you tonight with some strange and enchanting visitors who happened by our studios for All Hallows Eve, where once again ACMi proudly took part in a holiday tradition.
From 3 to 5 p.m. on Halloween, children ages 10 and under showed off their horrific finest at participating town businesses, including our studios right here at 85 Park Ave. We gave away tons of candy, but did we stop there? Certainly not.
We had our green screen set up in studio, taking videos of area trick-or-treaters right here in-house. And guess what? The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from our electrodes. It was an ACMi graveyard smash. See what we did there? Have a good night.